Hello, 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 and welcome back, my pretties, to Sod Passion Projects. Now, today we shall be discussing the entirety of Season 1 of She-Hulk. I specifically did a video about Episode 1, and given its episodic release schedule, I was thinking of doing one for each episode, but then things happened. Gonna be that case for a while, but I at least wanted to do an episode about the season as a whole to get some bullet points down about episode 1. Way too deep into feminism talk before the characters won over the audience in episode 1. Should have done that a few episodes in instead. 2, just really insufferable interactions between the main character, Jennifer Walker, and Bruce Banner in the very first episode, which just wasn't great at all. And definitely something from the public's perspective, which also like a scene I didn't even remember. Like Bruce struggling to deal with the Hulk drove him to attempt to unalive himself on multiple occasions, and it didn't work. And then still the writers thought they'd have Jennifer Walker talk down to Bruce Banner. It's like he was trying to help, but also being somewhat of a douche about it, you know? Like, he doesn't look great either in that scenario, but Jen definitely makes it look herself worse. So, on the whole, pretty terrible first episode to bring people in on. But, like, I am truly baffled by the amount of discourse this show has had, as opposed on just from certain right-wing figures and whatnot. Like, truly, it's a bad first episode, and the ending can be diverse, I understand. But the rest of the season is like pretty alright, you know? Not fantastic, not terrible either. I'm baffled that there was so much discourse dedicated to She-Hulk twerking in one episode, when it was with a celebrity who is well known for that, Meg Thee Stallion, I believe, if I remember correctly. Which, okay, maybe cringe, but who has not been a bit cringe around a celebrity they like? That's enough to write off in my books, as well as it's supposed to be a more comedic tone in an end credit scene. It's not even a main focus of the episode. Unless you're sticking around to specifically see that, you're not skipping to the next episode. It's entirely possible for people to miss this, and it dominated the discourse for the week it came out. It's just absurd to me that was the case. I definitely feels like this show is getting a lot more hate than it deserves for just the one pretty terrible bad episode at the beginning, and the rest all being pretty decent. A standout for many people is definitely the Daredevil episode, where My Ship and Heart was set at ease when Jennifer Walker started getting down bad for Matt Murdock, and things happened. But yeah, outside of that, the show is pretty alright, trying to balance, I think it needs to establish a bit more of this in any future seasons, but basically managing what's the superhero antics with the courtroom drama. I felt like it was a bit either or in some episodes, which ain't always great. It could definitely use a bit of a punch up in the comedy room as well. Again, first episode terrible, but things after that were alright. At the very least, nothing else as bad happened that made me want to groan out loud, or just made a struggle to sit through. But as for the finale, well, I can understand this being somewhat divisive for people. I do enjoy meta stuff. It is basically on that par with episode of Rick and Morty recently, where Rick entered the meta dimension while those meta characters. It's on that level you know? Basically, She-Hulk wondering just how her show ended up here and why is everything happening the way it is, basically breaks out of the confines of the show and goes to direct the person running the MCU, Kevin Feige, but in this instance, it is just a AI, a robot, in charge of making all the films and TV shows. And they critique it for like how formulaic and bland it can be at times, which fair. Like specifically, even like the whole copying of the superheroes' powers for the main antagonist and weird blood stuff because of what's it super soldier serum. Like that's all fairly common trends within like the MCU as well as Marvel as a whole. And it is just kind of nice to have that called out, because again, like the show was saying, like, yeah, what kind of courtroom dramedy? Like, we don't need it to go to this level for finale. Well, the bad guy with the powers and all that, and Hulk showing up for a final fight and all that. Like, it's just a bit much and loses the heart of the characters in this situation. And is like very typical of the MCU. That would have been a very typical MCU ending if they had gone through with that, which I do like. They're basically saying, yeah, we need more unique and creative stuff in this, It can't all just boil down to the exact same thing, which I agree with. Like, I recently watched Werewolf by Midnight, released by Marvel for the Halloween special. That was amazing. It was like all in black and white into the very end, and I loved that. And Moon Knight was amazing, and it was so horror influenced as well. Like, yeah, the MCU needs diversity in its content, which also includes the way you structure content. It can't all boil down to the same formulaic plot lines. But on the other hand, like I do get people saying, like, yeah, this can be a bit out of left field if you're not aware of the character's history, of how meta she is, or you're not paying as much attention to these meta trends. The only other thing I'll call out is like Abomination returned, and kind of got the raw end of the deal. Because like basically by the finale it is revealed he has been transforming into Abomination in order to host events, for money. And apparently this violates his parole, and Jen wants him to be accountable. It's not like he's deliberately enabling like criminals or anything. He's running a reform center for people to help deal with their aggression and seems to be doing a lot of good there. And he isn't leaving his property, when he transforms. He's just giving speaking events in the Abomination form, which proves to be rather lucrative. Honestly, it doesn't feel right that he goes back to jail at the end of this. He doesn't hurt anybody. He doesn't do anything significantly wrong. He just transforms into the Abomination, and it's like, you then have like legal and ethical questions about that. It's not exactly a weapon you can disarm him of and say he can't use it. And even those instances, like, can a person who's not like legally allowed to own firearms not go to a shooting range in order to fire off if they are like an enthusiast? They did a violent crime with a weapon. They've served their time. They are out on parole. They cannot own a weapon for said period of time, but they can't rent and use one at a range? I mean, do inform me if that is the case. I'm not aware. Just, it seems like they would be. And also, again, this is a superpower. Something they are, tied to that cannot be limited or restrained, as, a power they can use. I feel, and like, what happens if someone who, basically is mad at Abomination for that fight with the Hulk all the way back when, had some family that died in that, but now he is back out on parole. But those family members seek revenge, after his time has been served, and they try and kill him. Is he not supposed to defend himself with the abomination powers? Like, they are the aggressors, they are in the wrong. He cannot defend himself. Or what if there is an accident nearby and someone is stuck in a precarious situation? Well, like, I don't know, car on a bridge that is about to fall off with occupants inside of it, or someone trapped up with some rubble who needs medical attention. Is he just not supposed to use the abomination powers in those situations to save lives? It feels like it just a blanket like ban is like both unethical and just impossible to what's it enforce. Like, what happens if it just like accidentally turns into what's it the abomination in his sleep or something? You know, does that violate his parole? I think it really should have been more defined what he could and couldn't do, because it really doesn't seem like a violation. He's not leaving his property when he does it. He's not doing anything harmful with it, like engaging in fights or anything for money on the property. He's just simply transforming into a form people wish to see and like giving speeches. That's all he's doing. It really feels like it shouldn't be highlighted as something like he should be held accountable for. It doesn't feel like he's breaking any laws, causing any harm to people. Some of the people he was giving those speeches to were unfortunately weirdos that stole Jen's blood, but they also got retconned out, which, yeah, like, that is also part of the problem with the ending. It's like too much was committed over the course of the series to this. Like, it does create some plot holes as well as just kind of undermines a lot of the stakes, even if I do like how meta it got. So that is a rather tough pickle for me to square away. Like, I like how meta it was, but then suddenly a lot of things don't make sense, and then what did the bad guys do? Also, to that end, Jen had to break her own restraining order, limiting her powers in order to do the whole fourth wall break, and she gets away fine because of the continuity errors, but he has to be held accountable. That whole thing doesn't make sense. And yeah, Bruce is back with a kid now, which will probably set up other things, and we got some more Daredevil, which is nice. I hope they do keep that for future seasons. That would be quite adorable to see. Just, it truly does make me so happy. And also with Kingpin back in Hawkeye and what's the Hawkeye series. Yes, just Hawkeye, 2 Hawkeyes there. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do with them in the future. And I do hope this gets a second series with a bit more of a punch up in what's it, the je ne sais quoi comedy division. Yeah, it's just like one of the main things it was lacking in. It wasn't terrible, but like that first episode was oof, a stinker. But yeah, like on the whole, to compare it to like other what's it MCU properties, this is not a Thor: The Dark World, but nor is it a Thor Ragnarok. I would say it firmly just falls down on the first Thor movie. All right, but with some room to improve. Hopefully, season 2 does not go the way of The Dark World and just skips straight to Ragnarok and finds its groove. Otherwise, like, an alright time with that. Me and my brother were watching it together. We did enjoy it from episode to episode. We did have a good time after the first episode. And like he was kind of mixed opinion about it with me at first, where it's like at first he was a bit dissatisfied, but when I point out, yeah, but these are like serious notable trends you find within the MCU, he did kind of like the ending a bit more as well. But yeah, it's just stuff like that. I wish there was just a way to do more with that. What was it? Maybe it was the case where like the main blood stealing we were following was the plotting of somebody else behind the scenes that we would see picked up in season 2. But then what's it in for the whole meta plotline thing to go about, the guy who pays to get the blood instead gets it from, the prison. They take a blood sample for some BS reason because he has paid them to do so, and then, gets his sample of blood to make a serum. And somebody else is behind the scenes planning something season 2. Maybe the Hulk villain, the leader? We haven't seen anything from him yet, so that would be interesting. But otherwise, again, I'd say 6, 7 out of 10 series, Not quite as bad as a lot of people want to make it out to be, but also some noticeable flaws and need for improvement in coming seasons. If it gets it, who knows? It could have been such a PR disaster for Disney. They just axe it, which would be a shame. Anywho, now we've reached the point of the outro, so be sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, and maybe even the bell if you're so kind. And it's time to say ta-ta, auf Wiedersehen, until we meet again. Bye-bye, my pretties. And do comment down below your thoughts about the season. I gotta structure things better. Anywho, bye.